Hi, Suzanne.
Hi, hi, hi.
How are you?
What, you look like you're in a hotel room too.
I am, yeah. Weirdly, I think I'm not far from you, but anyway, another story. Hotels around the world, I guess. You're used to them. Listen, I think the last time that we had I had the pleasure of chatting to you was back to the night manager, which was just phenomenal. And I love The Perfect Couple. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh yeah,
Thank you.
it's just you're like, oh, you can't not keep going forward with it. You just kind of it's so wonderful. Talk to me a little bit about kind of how the project came to you and what for you was about it that made you want to jump on board.
So I got sent the pilot, and I really liked it. Was very witty, and I really liked it. But then I said, no, I don't want to. I can't do that. I don't know anything about Nantucket. Um, and then they kind of convinced me, and then I was like, okay, but then I need to be able to do it my way, because
Yeah,
otherwise it's not going to be, and I had like a great meeting with Netflix, and then I decided, okay, I'll do it. And I think what kind of drew me was the potential of, I mean, I love a good murder mystery. That's sort of, but the potential of doing something funny.
yeah,
I haven't actually really done that in English. In a way, Night Manager has a lot of wit, but it's not funny. It's much more of a repulsive kind of thriller thing. Um, and um, and this one was, I just felt in this one needs to be really light, really funny, sexy, but kind of um, like I said to them, it needs to be like elegant popcorn, and
nice. I like that. I like the idea almost of all those different characters are a different flavor of that elegant popcorn almost in a way as well.
yeah, yeah.
Because the um the the dynamics between the the family and the dynamics between certain relationships as well is just so fascinating and so and what I love is the way that you're kept guessing as well as you go through the series, with regards to certain individuals. You kind of make quick assumptions sometimes about people, and that's our fault. That's kind of where we kind of judge books by their covers, so to speak. Is that an element you love playing with the performance side of those actors in those characters?
Oh, absolutely. I love that. I love the kind of going, hmm, yes, it could be this one. Does she? And it's so interesting. It's interesting. It's interesting when you shoot it. It's interesting with the actors, because you also kind of want to, you know, I think that all the entire cast wanted to play into that a little bit, but also then when you're editing, you kind of go, oh boy, she does something in episode 2 that makes me think in episode 5 it's definitely her or him. And then maybe we're telling too much and we have to pare it back. And it's laying out the entire puzzle and being very precise about laying out the entire puzzle. But it's incredibly interesting.
Mm. And what's the reality of shooting that then as well? Because there are those kind of flashback moments, we kind of go backwards and forwards across the episodes. But the reality for you of shooting that and your characters being, at that point in the storyline as well. Talk to me a little bit about how you, with it being an episodic, series, but the timeline, how do you shoot that?
So the script cut, when I got the script, it did cut back and forth. The way it's cutting back and forth now is different from the script. Like it's laid out differently, but it was
Mm.
always the intention of the script to kind of cut back and forth. But you know, it does take. It does. I mean, I think it takes a you have to step back and you have to have a very clear overview. And you have to kind of be very precise about what is present, what is 2 days ago, what is much more days ago.
Hmm.
And but also you have to create moments where you don't really concern yourself with where they sit in time, where you're just immersed in the moment. And that's how those things work. Because I think when it doesn't work, just to be,
Mm.
is when you kind of want to be in one time frame rather than in another time frame,
Hmm.
which I sometimes find I watch something and I'm really interested in one time frame but not in the other one, and I get annoyed when I'm being forced into it. So it needs to be seamless.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely is. Do you know, there's so many things about the show that I love. One of the things that I really love that it kind of plays into that idea of it being funny is the kind of opening the dance sequence. Um, I love it. I think when the show comes out, it's going to be one of those virals on TikTok where everybody's going to have, the next family gathering, everybody's going to be doing the perfect couple dance.
I did it. So we had very, very short time to shoot that. And
Wow.
everybody was like, do you really want to do that? This is crazy. We have like 3 days to do the entire rehearsal dinner. Are you going to take out a few hours to do a dance? And I was like, yes, I am. And
Yes.
and the cast were like, I can't dance. I'm going to be in the back. I don't want. I'll be in the back. And even Nicole was like, I'm wearing a very tight dress. And like Nicole, it doesn't matter what you wear, you'll be glorious. So
Yeah.
um and 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 then in the end, I kind of joined them. I did a dance myself just so that they all could get their laugh, and they did because. Have you got any idea how difficult that dance is? It
It
looks
looks easy.
so easy.
Exactly. What were they dancing to on the day?
Sorry?
What music were they dancing to on the day when you filmed it?
They are dancing to that. It's yeah, they're dancing to that thing which is going to be the title thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was like it was just we're just doing it. We're just doing it, and we'll run the cameras, and we don't. I mean, in general, I think if you ask anybody who knows about those things, they would tell you it takes 2 days to film it, and we did it in an hour and a half. So it's like, whoa.
In my head, you see, I have the Eve had the dance already planned in her head, and she came and she got everybody to do it, and she was the ringleader in it as well. That's what I had romantically in my head of going, yeah.
Just so you know, that is not entirely wrong. I had that a little bit. I mean, it's not, it's, and also Eve is just such a brilliant dancer. So it's like, you just look at her and you kind of go, okay, she's got, she's got that thing.
She can move. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Talk to me a little bit about kind of, music throughout the series then in terms of, working with composers on what you wanted for this show, because there's, you mentioned murder mystery earlier, and there's the, you could have swayed towards that kind of tonally with the music, but it doesn't at all. Talk to me a little bit about for you working with music and at what point you start thinking about it and then working with a composer.
It was interesting because I did start thinking about a bit too early here, and that kind of confused me.
Mm.
Um, other than the song for the title sequence, um, it confused me because I was a bit all over the place with the music, and then I realized in editing that the music needs to obviously it needs to at time feed into the drama and feed into
Hmm.
the various love stories, but essentially it also needs to support the comedic aspects. And that is much more difficult because
Hmm.
in a way for music to be dark and somber, or to be is a much easier thing, but to for music to be light without being shallow is
Hmm.
more difficult. So it was quite difficult getting it right, actually. Since you're asking, it's interesting you're asking about it.
Did you have any reference points here in terms of things
Oh,
that
a
you?
ton, a
Yeah.
ton of reference point. Reference, if like basically for every minute, but a lot, I want to say even the reference point I had and that I picked were wrong. You know, and you kind of realize after a while, I like the reference isolated, but now seeing it in a context, and once we started really thoroughly editing all 6 episodes and looking at them and kind of showing to a tiny little test audience, I realized, shit, those references doesn't work. We have to rethink it. It's very
But
much, I mean, part of what I like about doing this is that it never stops. It never stops being challenging, and it never stops being demanding. It's also exhausting, but it just it keeps exciting.
yeah, and that idea that you're, of listening to the project, of listening to what it's telling you that it needs, of listening to what it's telling you it doesn't need. That's so important, isn't it?
It's really important. It's really important, and it's really. So I'm just getting the coffee. It's really important, and it's really interesting. Um, 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 because that's sort of the life that you're giving it, but also the life you're getting from it. It's, that's the part I enjoy the most. The fact that, oh, oh my, oh, this character is so different from what I imagined. How exciting is that? How
Mm.
interesting is that? And like every day you have this moment where that's what the reason why I kind of can kind of get up at 4:30 for 130 days or whatever, how many crazy days it is that every day there is this moment where you go, I did not see that coming. That was so interesting and so rewarding.
And I guess a lot of that's down to what the cast bring to the performances and how they bring those characters to life and how those characters connect and those relationships with other characters. Something might kind of appear or not appear.
Yeah, but I mean, for example, Lee Schreiber's character, like he kind of said, okay, can he just be smoking dope all the time? And I was like, yeah, interesting. Let's try it. And then he does it, and then you kind of go, it feels like he was born with it.
Mm-hmm.
And and those kind of gifts are just yeah, you know, there's a bit of Christmas every day. There's a bit of other stuff as well, but
That's such a great way of putting it. It's a little bit of Christmas every day. I love that. But he's a really interesting character that you mentioned, because there is that kind of like, that kind of almost like stoner level of him, kind of gliding through life sort of thing, and doesn't really kind of look either way. He's just kind of sort of, he's gliding, and it's and I love that performance. I love that performance. It's so great.
it's really funny, right?
Yeah, really funny. And I've got to mention Jack Renner, who I
Oh my God.
just, oh my God, you're like, what a dick. And
Yeah, but
and
you
then
can't help loving him anyway.
absolutely, what's that about?
But that's about Jack. That's
Yeah.
about Jack. And it's about Jack not compromising. It's about Jack not trying to be nice while being an asshole. It's about Jack going full speed and being an asshole. And then because he does that, it becomes so in it becomes so endurable. It becomes like you can't help. I mean, every time, and I've been editing Jack for a year and a half now, and every single frame, I just love it. And I had to stop myself from making the takes longer because I just wanted more of it. I had at some point I had my editor going, okay, I
Enough, Jack.
get it, I get it, but we need to tell the story.
But he does that brilliant thing with this character where you're kind of like, he makes you feel so uncomfortable at times, and then almost as soon as you see him in in the scene or in the frame, you're almost just waiting for that moment from him that's gonna just kind of like, here, what's he gonna say?
Yeah.
What's coming? What's coming?
Yeah.
And
What?
it's just, you're so excited about what that is.
Yeah. Yeah. And he goes, I'm not that stupid. And you go,
It's just the no filter. It's just like, there's elements of it that are so endearing and so kind of weirdly like aspirational, going, God, I wish I had the ability to have no filter like he does. But then you go, nah, maybe it would get me in a lot of trouble.
I think you're better without.
Yeah. It's interesting you mentioned the editing as well, because I mean, having this incredible cast, and these intertwined stories and relationships and stuff, I can't imagine how you were able to. I mean, obviously you going by the script sort of thing, but like you say, you give your actors the playground to play in, and but the ability to kind of get that into an episode length for every episode, it must have been hard work, Susanne. Well, not hard work, but in terms
No,
of,
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of
yeah,
work, and it was a lot of work editing it, and it was a lot of work getting the balances right, and it was a lot of work because there is a ton of improvisations. So getting that into the context without losing the red thread and without losing the sense of who did it, was a ton of work. And Sam Williamson, who edited, I don't think he has slept a lot the last year and a half. Um, but 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 if we don't, it's got to be interesting what we do.
yeah.
And I want to say that I it's very hard finding something really interesting which is not demanding. I mean, so if you're a politician, you also don't get to sleep. And this is way more fun.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. The excuse me, I've totally forgotten the actor's name who plays the kind of the cop that comes in, the detective. She is
Um,
absolutely brilliant, and that kind of pairing of her, almost that the community being a character, so to speak, that she kind of infiltrates and is kind of like, what the hell is going on here? Who these guys think they are. I love her character. I think she's those moments where she gets the chance to kind of really shine and really play. Is it Donna
Donna
Lynn?
Lynn. Donna
Yeah.
Lynn.
Um, what a
She's
talent.
brilliant. She's a brilliant actress, and
Mm,
she holds herself um like like first of all, between her and Michael Beach, there's like a kind of growing camaraderie, which is really joyful. But also, she's really down to earth, and she can't stand the snobbism, and she can't stand the fact that this world of privilege thinks that the rules don't apply to them. Like,
mm,
they are entitled to drive across the red light, they think, and she does definitely not think so. And that sort of conflict and the way she delivers and her comedic timing is just immaculate.
yeah.
And can
It's
we talk
get
about Dakota a bit?
Yes,
Who is
please.
who's
Oh my God, yes.
whose
I mean,
comedic timing is also like, isn't she like so precise?
and not even through dialogue, sometimes just
Yeah.
by physical responses to things, or just a kind of facial expression, or even the way that she kind of holds herself in that way. Um, yeah, I mean, the casting. How involved were you in the casting of this? Because it's
I
kind of
cast it. I
it's
mean, Gina, we had like casting agents, but I got involved. And then I asked them when I got involved. I asked them whether they'd be interested in Nicole to play Greer, because I thought it was a great opportunity for. First of all, it would be fun to work again, and it would be fun for her and I to do something with the comedic aspect to it.
mm,
And then we did the rest of the cast. After that, we did
mm.
sort of. I guess for me as a director, getting the cast right is sort of the single most important thing. other
It's
than
such a,
the script, then
yeah,
the
because
cast is
it
like,
making those, particularly when it's a family and that kind of bigger, so the family, and then those kind of relationships that are the connective tissue between, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, all that kind of stuff as well. It's got to be believable, hasn't it? And it's such a beautiful kind of talent to be able to see where it works and what's believable and where we can really believe in those relationships and that family as well. And for you kind of constructing that with casting, is that one of the things that you love about the job of kind of, on the page you've got these characters and you kind of go, but yeah, this is the person I can see bring this to life, and this is the person that, that fits with that and that fits with that. It's like a jigsaw puzzle almost in a way.
yeah, yes, definitely. I mean, I want to say that I mean, in another life, in another life, I would have been a matchmaker. And I think there's a bit of that. There's a bit of that satisfaction. Oh, I do get to marry people, but only for a few weeks. But um, um, so I think that it really it's also very much about contracts. Like you take Eva Hughes and you have Nicole, and then you go, who's going to be the other female lead opposite Nicole? And Nicole, you put a camera in front of Nicole and she just sucks it up. You know what I mean? And then you go, okay, it needs to be somebody just as strong and totally different.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get Eva Hewson, who is not tall, like Nicole is like endlessly tall. Eva Hewson is not tall, but Eva Hewson has an equally strong, she's equally sexy, she's equally forceful, and she's equally kind of seductive in her own way. And she's got huge integrity and and a very quiet, very real sense of humor. And and so you kind of go, okay, you put an I, and you kind of go, I believe that those two could be opposite one another, and
Mm.
and 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 they'd be equally strong. Uh,
Yeah.
and in a way, you do the same. Liev, like it's always tricky with men and Nicole because of what I just say, Um, but then you've got Liev, and he is just he takes just as much attention, but he's completely laid back, and he's enough of a male to not feel threatened by
Mm.
somebody as strong as Nicole.
Yeah. With Eve, I think it's so exciting to kind of, with a talent like that of, particularly, she's done so much already, but she's still very much at the start of her career. But the versatility that she shows, as an actor, Flora and Son, for example, that I saw her in last year. I mean, just I thought she was absolutely phenomenal. In that very different role, and just kind of go, my God, she can do anything.
She can, but she has one thing which very few actors. She has a sultriness, which is almost like Sophia Loren or
Yes.
Lola Bridge. Like she has a kind of like there is a direct sexiness to her, which is just there, and it's
Mm.
unquestionable.
Yeah.
And you can put her in anything, and it's just going to be there. And
Yeah.
and and that's I don't think there's a lot of actresses who has that.
Yeah. Back to music before we finish. Do when you're preparing for projects and when you're kind of, starting to get into it, does music kind of form part of the research for you? Do you make, we speak to so many actors, particularly who make playlists for their characters, and sometimes directors will do the same sort of thing. How much is music part of your prep, and also whilst you're shooting? Does it help in any way?
Yeah, but not in that sense that I now play a whole lot of music from Nantucket in order to get into that mood.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like I might play, I might play Wagner or something. I might kind of walk around myself and and play bits of opera. And I might, I use it as a kind of weird way of getting into a mood, but I barely ever use it as a direct connection.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I find that distracting. It's a little
Hmm.
bit. I do like that there's an extra layer, which is
Yeah.
remote from it. But I definitely
Sure.
use music. But I don't use it as in, I think a lot of directors use it more immediately than I do.
I like the fact that you steered away from Nantucket music. I have no idea what Nantucket music is, but I imagine there's a scene.
Lots of Sound of Wales.
Yeah, seaside noises in Wales. Yeah, absolutely for sure. Listen, it's so great to chat to you and continue to be thoroughly entertained by your work. And this was something that I just couldn't get enough. I couldn't feed myself quick enough with it. It's just so brilliant, Susanne. It's great to chat to you.
Thank you. Great to chat to you. Who's the murderer? I just want to know who you think it is.
Who do I think it is? Oh, come on, it's Nicole.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.